So this module is about selling with social networks. So the first thing I wanted to say is that we oftentimes have the feeling that we want to quickly conclude that LinkedIn, for example, is really the professional network, and then other networks, Facebook, for example, it's really for friends. I want to say that while that is true to a certain extent, and for maybe several million people on the planet, even entire cultures would rather apprehend things that way. LinkedIn, business; Facebook, personal. A lot of cultures don't divide their life into two different sections. It is just life, and life is holistic, and in life there is less of a barrier. Other cultures have a barrier, but that barrier is not such a strong, perhaps impenetrable wall, right? So there's some crossover between the two. So typically Latin cultures, so that would be all of Latin America, Central America, also all of the Latin European cultures, Portugal, Spain, France, and Italy. They tend to, say family, personal life, friends, and then, or that was work, friends, family, personal life, right? So LinkedIn, Facebook. We are in lifestyle industries. We're in wines and spirits. We're in food and beverage, tourism, hospitality. We're in luxury. And in these industries, there is a great deal of lifestyle work. We chose an industry which is a way of life. And when we finish work, we end up participating in wines and spirits, in fine dining, in cooking. When we even serve our friends, we pay attention. We are hospitable. We are friendly people in nature, right? Because that is our life, and it is our business. In luxury, you live luxury. You have a way with people. You have attention to detail. Right, this is a way who you are. So because of this, absolutely have a great presence also on Facebook, and use Facebook when appropriate. So both of those, you're going to want to fill in all of your profile information. LinkedIn has what they call in English the all-star status, and you want to achieve that. In French, it's a expert absolu, so you want to get to that level. Now, that was the first section. Really closing that up is, yes, use LinkedIn, yes, use Facebook, use your other tools like WeChat, Line, depending on your markets. The next thing is we want to talk about what you should do in terms of perhaps on LinkedIn. I've done this as well on Facebook, so I really recommend it as well. So fill in, for each of your jobs, get a reference. So the reference should have the person's name, the person's title, and I've gone so far as to actually put the person's mobile number. Some of you are thinking, wait a minute. If I put the person's number, first of all, they won't agree to that. Secondly, they're going to be harassed by SMS and telephone calls. Think so? Actually, this has been the case for me for at least the past 10 years, if not longer. Nobody has been harassed or sent unsolicited SMS or things like that because I put their mobile phone number on the network. Now, of course, currently I'm really heavily working in France, so the French numbers really are useful for my clientele. But then, of course, you can also include email if that is a professional email that you are sure they will receive. So now there are two more things I want to say about putting those references. So that would be number 2 and 3. Number 2 is the person does not have to work there anymore. And number 3, the person does not have to be your direct supervisor. Let's say you got along better with another colleague. Let's say that your direct supervisor, like mine, one of my last jobs, was the CEO. He's a particular CEO who has 4 different SIM cards and is constantly traveling. He's a very hard to get a hold of person via phone, email, and the likes. So I actually put someone with whom I worked, and we were the same level management. That's just as fine. The second thing is do contact them, exchange the news, échanger des nouvelles, as we say in France, catch up a little bit, and let them know that they could be contacted for a reference in some way, shape, or form. The next thing is fill in all of your information as you would on a CV or resume, as we say, right? Let's talk really quickly about that. Now, what I want you to do is I want you to quantify and qualify your accomplishments. So what does that mean? What we want to know is how you work. So the how is to quantify and qualify your accomplishments. So quantify, we need, right, some numbers. And qualify, we need some descriptors. So for example, if you were able to achieve your sales goals within 3 months, if you were able to surpass sales goals by 12%, if you were able to train 3 new employees. These are all numbers, right? If at the end, one thing that might be an interesting one is that if you can't find something about the how, it's something of that you have an open job offer to return and work for them at any time. So that's something, for example, that many people have, and it really shows how you work, because you are welcome back anytime to work with them. That's fantastic. In terms of qualifying your accomplishments, because as you know, CVs and resumes, what do? They say where you worked, they say when you worked, they say what you did, and they say for whom you worked. But guess what people want to know? They want to know how you work. So now the next section is third thing about your LinkedIn, Facebook, have a professional looking photo. You want to be dressed the way that you dress for the job. And then also you want to have an expression. You want to convey a message through your look that is in line with your personality. If you're sharp, detail-oriented, rather mathematical, you'll want to have that sharp, maybe a slight side smile, right? You want to be yourself, but you also want to convey a side of yourself that shows how you are. If you're the person who's icebreaker, a little bit more of a fun to get along with person, you might have a bigger smile. One of the things that's very important is not to have one of your passport photos where you look very serious. This is inappropriate for many different markets, Western European markets, the UK, Commonwealth countries, Australia, New Zealand. If you look like that and you're really serious, you might even look mean, because some people just look mean if you have a very serious face. Some places like France, you would have a little bit less of a smile. We would say like not a North American toothy smile. But again, you want to be yourself and you want to convey the message of who you are. If you're that sly and sexy, don't mess with me, well then you can do that. But you'd want to avoid doing anything inappropriate for sending the wrong message. We say in English that a picture is worth 1,000 words. So indeed, that's important as well. Now also have a timeline or another photo that's indicative in the background. Make sure that the photo is copyleft. In other words, you are allowed to use that. You can find some fantastic images on Unsplash, on Pixabay, on PicJumbo that are free to use. You can also, of course, cite the photographer, which is always appreciated, and it can be one of your photos. Make sure it's clear, make sure it's not pixelated, and that it loads quickly, that you don't have to wait. Of course, the social network websites put limits on size and usually can handle the download speed of your photos. So that wraps up what you should have on your social networks. Next thing, the 4-part sales message. So this is an important one because what we're looking for you to do is really increase the power of your contacts, your prospection. So the first thing is go for a referral. The second thing is have a personalized sentence about the person whom you're contacting. The third one is you're going to write a sentence that is about you, but it has to be in link with something about them. And then the fourth one is what we call a call to action. And that call to action, un appel à l'action, is going to be in the form of, number one, a question. And number two, that question has to be one in which the answer is invariably yes. So let me explain that in the form of an example. So let's say, Gregory Charles sent me to contact you. He encouraged me to reach out to you, to contact you. That was number one, right? So Gregory Charles encouraged me to contact you. Number two, a personalized section would be because you are director of Western Europe. So the number three, I happen to be in charge of several of those markets that you know very well. And then number four, could you please tell me who's in charge of purchasing at your company? So can they tell you who's in charge of purchasing? Absolutely, right? And if they don't know, if they have a huge company, they will know who knows, right? So this is interesting too. Good news about humanity. Over 70% of human beings that were studied will help others as long as it's simple. So you have made it very simple for them. And you've increased the chances of them replying because, number one, you are going on behalf of someone in their network, right? Number two, you have taken the time to look at their profile, which, believe it or not, is something that the vast majority of people don't do. You know, certainly there are millions of great salespeople in the world, and people looking out for, to reach out. But there's a lot of copy-paste, non-personalized messages going out there. Of course, it takes more time to personalize the message, but the return rate, that return on your investment to contact, it's huge. So if you can get a 2 to 3% return rate or something that's copy-pasted, that's amazing. But you're going to get something, at least in my experience, that's well over 80% return rate. If you have something good to offer, if you're looking good and your stuff's filled in, number three, right? You have a link with them. You have something in common. You might even make a comment about their company, like a positive remark about their company. You've been following it for a while, and you know that they've been in business since 1837, and indeed they're one of the market leaders. That's great. Now you have something in common again with them. You both love the company. And number four, this call to action, you've made it easy for them because all they have to do is say, yeah, sure, just write to Jacobson at, and then the Systembolaget, right, .se, or whatever the company, organization, or monopoly is. So put those into practice, and I wish you bonne vente, as we say in French, good sales and prospection.